Hello boys and girls, it's Wrestlemania season, so to get you in the mood, I thought I would rank all of the Wrestlemania main events. I think that Wrestlemania main events actually are not a good sign of a good Wrestlemania, and there are plenty of main events high up on this list that actually came from pretty bad ones. So it's going to be quite interesting to see if there's a correlation between a good WrestleMania main event and a good WrestleMania on whole. And I'm going to start off with the worst WrestleMania main event, and no surprises, it's Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor. Quite frankly, I think it's a disgrace that a non-wrestler was in the main event of a WrestleMania. As much as I don't like the Clique and their power, Shawn Michaels and Diesel should have been the main event. So just this alone, by default, not having two wrestlers in the match has to be the worst of all time, and it also comes from quite a bad one, 11. The match wasn't particularly bad, but just on principle, this should be bottom. Second bottom is the worst WrestleMania main event. Probably less entertaining than the Lawrence Taylor match was John Cena versus The Miz at WrestleMania 27. This match was a fucking train wreck. It was a disaster. First and foremost, it was ended halfway through by a count out, which is just something you never do at a WrestleMania main event. It made absolutely no sense. The match was shit. The Miz should never have been in the main event of a WrestleMania. John Cena should never have been in that WrestleMania either. He just kind of popped out of nowhere to appear in it. This WrestleMania match, a main event, was used as fodder for the next WrestleMania, so it was basically a storyline, and as far as I'm concerned, the WrestleMania main event is the pinnacle of wrestling, and it's what every young wrestler should dream of doing, and the fact that this match was used as a storyline is frankly bullshit. So everything put together, it's a fucking horrid match, and it really should be bottom, but at least there were two wrestlers in it, so it's not quite that bad. Next, we've got Bret Hart versus Yokozuna at WrestleMania 9. This was pretty boring, shit, slow. Bret Hart should have faced Hogan in this match, should have been the young star coming up against the old star. I've nothing against Yokozuna. He won in quite a cheap way with the Mr. Fuji throwing sand in Bret Hart's face, and then obviously Hulk Hogan challenging Yokozuna to a match and pinning him in 3 minutes. Just really bad. Yeah, a main event wasted for a storyline. WrestleMania main events are supposed to be the payoff. They're not supposed to further storylines. So this, like the main event in WrestleMania 27, were complete crap, and the match was pretty bullshit too. And again, from a bad WrestleMania. In fact, 27, 11, and 9, the bottom three, are probably also the bottom worst WrestleManias of all time too. So we're seeing a little correlation here, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, we've got Undertaker versus Sid at WrestleMania 13. This match was just thrown together at the last minute because of Shawn Michaels' injury. I think that they were going to have a rematcher from WrestleMania 12. That would have been really good. And just out of nowhere, we got this match, and quite frankly, it was absolutely bullshit. Apparently, Psycho Sid shat his pants in the middle of this match, which doesn't surprise me because it really was a fucking atrocity. And yeah, just very, very unmemorable. And I actually don't think the 13 was that bad at WrestleMania, but this match fucking sucked. Next, we've got Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter at WrestleMania 7. This was pretty boring. It was just more Hulkamania. This is when Hulkamania was getting old, and it was kind of being shoved down your throat. This was nothing more than, Mr. America beating Sergeant Slaughter, who was posing as the Iranian guy. In all fairness to McMahon, it was like seizing of the times. Obviously, US were in the desert war. You're in so many fucking wars, I can't keep track. But you were in the Gulf War, and Sergeant Slaughter was obviously representing the Iranians. And I kind of like the idea of it, but this wasn't really a WrestleMania main event match. It was kind of unnecessary. It would have been great for a SummerSlam, but main event, no, and it probably should have been Ultimate Warrior versus Hogan too. So yeah, pretty boring, to be completely honest. Next, we've got Hulk Hogan versus Sid at WrestleMania 8. This again was just a stupid match just to put Hulk Hogan up front. As much as I really respect Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania made wrestling, there are quite a lot of Hulk Hogan main events quite low down on this list, I have to say. He kind of got a bit tedious after a while, and this was another time when no way did he deserve to be in the main event. He wasn't wrestling much in 1992 whatsoever. Randy Savage versus Ric Flair should have main evented. In fact, what really should have main evented was Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan, the ultimate wrestling matchup, and apparently Hulk Hogan didn't want a job to Ric Flair or something to those circumstances, I'm not sure, but what we got was crap, and we got a really botched ending with Kamala coming in, the Godfather, late. Harvey Winkleman or something like that tried to interrupt the match, and it just got ended in disqualification extremely randomly. Really stupid. This match would be a lot lower down in the list if it wasn't for the return of the Ultimate Warrior, and that was actually quite a memorable moment. So I kind of like that bit, but most of all, this was kind of shit, I have to say. Next, we got Bret Hart versus Yokozuna. This was slightly better than the WrestleMania 9 match. I think this is the only time we've had the same WrestleMania main event 2 years in a row, and both of them were shit. So, hint, hint, WWE. We don't want to see Rock versus Cena 2 because past does not favour kindly rematches, and this match was also kind of shit. A bit like 8, only really memorable for the ending when all the wrestlers come and congratulate Bret Hart, and you have his brother Owen, who'd previously beaten him earlier on the night, staring him down. That was a great WrestleMania moment. The match itself was extremely forgettable, so this wasn't a particularly good one. And as much as I love WrestleMania 10, you could argue that it's a bit of an overrated WrestleMania because the main event was very poor. Next we've got Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy. I'm sure people should think this was lower down on the list, but I actually kind of enjoyed this match. It was pretty shit. This is when Hulkamania kind of worked, when he was like he was getting his ass kicked, and then he was, going and coming back and beating King Kong Bundy. It was in a cage. King Kong Bundy got busted open. There was a blade job, which I thought was pretty fucking awesome for like 80s wrestling. This match is nowhere near as bad as everyone says it is. It's rather enjoyable. Not the best main event of all time, but for its particular time, I really liked it, and I thought it was kind of good, but obviously not as good as the ones that are coming up next. Next, we got Triple H versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania 25. This match is so dull. Nothing happens. I hate how Triple H won the match. Even though I'm a huge Triple H fan, Randy Orton should have had his moment in the sun, won this. It was a very forgettable match. Just like the WrestleMania before in 24, the holder retained the title, and I think that's bullshit. The year before, Randy Orton was the holder and he retained the belt, when actually Triple H had a lot of momentum. Randy Orton won it and then lost it the next month, which kind of made no sense. Why do you have the title change a month later and not at WrestleMania? WrestleMania 25 was just like this, and Triple H held on, and Randy Orton won again the pay-per-view after WrestleMania 25, so it's completely pointless and kind of shit. And I remember the match being very boring, and then all of a sudden Triple H hits a pedigree and it's over, and just a very underwhelming match for a WrestleMania that could have and should have been so much more. Next we've got Hogan, Mr. T, Roddy versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff at WrestleMania 1. I like this match. I think it's kind of fun. In a way, it's a bit shit because it's a tag team. You don't really have all that kind of, competitiveness that you get in a one-on-one match, but actually was very enjoyable with all the kind of celebrities on the outside of the ring, and it kind of summed up most of WrestleMania 1. WrestleMania 1 wasn't the greatest pay-per-view for matches, but the whole occasion of it all kind of smells of WrestleMania, and for that I actually kind of like this match, and I think it is a relatively good main event, although it would have been cooler to have seen, I don't know, Hulk Hogan versus Mr. T or versus Roddy Piper or something like that. I think one-on-ones are good. A tag team match should never be a main event of the WrestleMania, so not too good in my opinion. Next we got Triple H versus Batista at WrestleMania 21. I don't like this match. I think it's pretty dull. I hated a lot more John Cena versus JBL, the match before. I would love to slate the fuck out of that match, but we're talking about main events here, Philip. I didn't really like, that's my name by the way, in case you're actually named Philip and you're like, whoa, how the fuck did you know my name? No, my name is Philip. And I just didn't like this fucking match. I thought it was kind of bullshit, boring. I was happy with Batista winning. It kind of made a new star, but WrestleMania 21 was going really well until the two main events, and then it just fell fucking flat. And I thought this match was extremely boring, but still probably better and more important in the history of the WWE than the matches that came beforehand on this list. Next we've got the WrestleMania 2000 main event, Mick Foley versus Big Show versus Triple H versus The Rock. I don't mind this match too much. I do like this WrestleMania. This match actually got me into wrestling because I caught it live when I was like 13 years old, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this McMahon family? God damn it, are they like dysfunctional? This is when I thought wrestling was like proper real, and I was very entertained by it. And in a way, it's kind of a good soap opera match. There's quite a lot of Vince Russo swerve turns and all that shit. But actually, it wasn't the greatest wrestling match, and it probably should have been Triple H versus The Rock. That was the matchup of my time, at least, and it's a shame we never got to see it at a main event of WrestleMania, and it wasn't the best. I'm happy Mick Foley was in the main event because I think that he deserved to have that slot in the main event, so I'm cool with that, but unfortunately, the match didn't really live up to expectations. Next, we've got Triple H versus Jericho at WrestleMania 18. This is a good match, but again, it doesn't really blow up in your face. It's not that good. The ending's kind of cool, like when Stephanie comes in the ring trying to get over Triple H, and I think he gives Jericho fucking smacks Triple H in the face with one of the nastiest chair shots you'll ever see. Then he'll recover and get the pedigree off, and actually it is a cool finish. Triple H injured for a year, remember, and him coming back to win the whatever the fuck it is, championships, the 2 belts. That was really cool, but not a wow main event, but still pretty good, and obviously was completely outshined by The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, which probably should have main evented. But it wasn't a bad match, kind of enjoyable, but nothing special. And I think we're now kind of getting to the better matches of all these main events. And remember, when you actually look at all these matches that I've just listed to you, they're not that great. And it has to be said, in my opinion, I think the WWE have failed quite a bit to get a lot of their main events over. It has to be said that if I was to make the best matches of all time, I really don't think that many of these main events would get in. So perhaps it's a failure on WWE's behalf. Who knows? But next we've got Randy Savage versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 5. This was kind of cool. I liked it a lot. Like it was the Mega Powers colliding. It was great fun, nothing special, good wrestling match. Was probably a lot better back in the day than it kind of seems now. I don't think it's aged very well, this match, but it is good. And afterwards is actually Randy Savage versus Ted DiBiase. I thought this was not necessarily a better match than the Hulk Hogan Savage match, but I think the culmination of the tournament made when Randy Savage won the belt a lot more special than when Hulk Hogan won the belt back again. You know, I didn't really feel like emotion when Hulk Hogan won the belt at WrestleMania 5, but at WrestleMania 4 when Savage won it from DiBiase, I was a great feeling, especially, you know, him coming down to the ring with that music and Miss Elizabeth, oh isn't she gorgeous, you know, all of that kind of the culmination of that night made the moment when he won the belt that much more special. So I actually really liked the main event of WrestleMania 4 and 5, but 4 a little bit more. Ooh, I'm a poet, don't I know it. Next we've got HBK versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania 14. I like this match a lot. It's not that good. There aren't that many near falls in it. I watched it actually quite recently, and there's a lot of emotion and a great storyline going into it. The build up is fantastic. I think WrestleMania 14 is a fantastic WrestleMania, not for its matches, but for all the emotion involved around them. For example, Kane versus Undertaker. It's not the match we remember, but the storyline. And the storyline going into this main event was fantastic with Mike Tyson, you know, Stone Cold with all of his momentum, HBK kind of going out. There's a hell of a lot going into it, so it is a very good match. But in terms of just technical wrestling, it wasn't that great. There weren't many near falls. I think you could have had Stone Cold take a super kick and kick out of it. That would have been pretty awesome, but we didn't really see any of that, so I was a little bit disappointed. But all in all, this is a very good match from a very good pay-per-view, WrestleMania 14. Next, we've got John Cena versus HBK at WrestleMania 23. This is a very good match. Went on a long time. Very technical. Loads of near falls. Almost and very good match, and probably should be higher on this list. But I'm sorry, I hate that John Cena won it. I know in a way, and I always am one to say that older stars should put themselves over for younger stars. I think that's the kind of rite of passage in wrestling. That's what should happen. But I just think Shawn Michaels deserved to win this match. I think he deserved that moment in the sun when he came back in 2002 from his 4 or 5 year hiatus. He won the belt at Survivor Series 2002 and dropped it a month later. And in the next 8 years at the company, he was never once world champion. And I think that's really fucked up. And this was the night to give HBK that moment in the sun. I think that Cena, goes a 30-minute match in the main event and loses doesn't harm his character at all. And in fact, this match might have been the beginning of people not liking Cena because they thought this fucker was getting all the glory. And then when I was watching, that was the match that I kind of thought, fuck you. I was glad he won against Triple H the year before in the main event I'll get onto later, because he deserved that. But in this match, fuck off, Cena should not have won it. HBK should have had that moment of glory, and it was denied by fucking John Cena, so I'll never fucking forgive him for that. And the match was good, but the ending really fucked me off. Next we've got Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6. This is actually a really good match. What I love about this is that you've got two faces in the prime of their career. It was in Canada. I'd like to have seen this match in America and seen if the fans were supporting Hogan more than Warrior, because I think in Canada they were supporting Warrior. I'd like to see how the dynamics would have changed had this match been in America. But you had two faces going at it who absolutely had everyone going after them, and Ultimate Warrior was great. As much as I don't like Ultimate Warrior, he does remind me a bit of Cena in the way he kind of runs into the ring. They're exciting wrestlers, Cena included. They're quite exciting, and Warrior winning this match was pretty fucking awesome, and I really liked watching this one when I was younger. So, not the greatest technical match, but it told a great story, and it was just one of those nice matches where you see two great people going at it, and you don't care who wins, you just want to see some emotion. So I really like this main event, I've got to say. Next, Triple H versus John Cena at WrestleMania 22. I fucking love this match. When the entrances are really cool with actually maybe Cena's is a little bit fucking gay. Got to admit, with a little fucking ding 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 ding, the gangster opening, that was really stupid. But it was a fucking awesome match. I think Triple H, he was so over with the crowd. Even this early in John Cena's career, the real wrestling fan, not casual fan kind of wrestling fan, the kind of guy who will pay to go and see a WrestleMania, the real wrestling fan, even though that's a bullshit thing to say, they did not like Cena, and this was the start of it, and it was awesome seeing Triple H getting cheered, the little DX signs here and there. The battle was great between the two. Again, I was happy Cena went over because it made him a star, and that's good for business and good for the future company, so I was damn cool with it then. And yeah, it was just a fucking awesome match. It was great to see both of these guys going at it. Fantastic. I love it a lot. WrestleMania 22, fucking underrated WrestleMania. Next, we've got The Rock versus John Cena. WrestleMania 28. One of the main reasons I do not want to see this match again at WrestleMania 29 is because, as far as I'm concerned, they achieved everything they needed to last year. I really liked it. I don't think the match was particularly good, but the build-up was fantastic, and I fucking love the entrances to both guys, because that's what WrestleMania is about. It's about celebrities. It's about popular culture. And when we had the Rock coming out to Flo Rida and Machine Gun Kelly for John Cena, they're great intros. And even though that took up a lot of time, to me that just made WrestleMania. And I really liked the whole total package of this match. And if it was and will be once in a lifetime, it was awesome, and I'm sold on it, and that's why I really don't want this match to happen again. For many other reasons too, but mainly because last year's was really good, and it'd be a shame to fucking whore it out again. The next match we got is Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 19. This is a great match between two amateur wrestlers. Fucking awesome stuff. This match would probably be hard if it wasn't for the ending, which really did suck. Brock going for the shooting star press, which he's nailed many times before, but I think Kurt Angle was a bit too far out for him, and he completely fucked it up, and that really put a tint to the match. I have to say that really sucked. But other than that, it was a great match. I like how Lesnar came, beat Rock at SummerSlam, got fucked over by Big Show, won the Royal Rumble, and then won the title at WrestleMania. That's the way you build a star. You kind of build them up, break him down, and then you build him right back up again. And it was a fantastic example. And this should have made Brock Lesnar, who knows what effect that shooting star press might have had on his psyche, thinking about it, that was his moment and he fucked it up. Maybe that kind of messed with his head a little bit. Maybe he got some fucking brain damage, who knows. But it was a great match. But that that ending did kind of sour it a bit, unfortunately. Next, we've got WrestleMania 24, Undertaker versus Edge. I think that perhaps Shawn Michaels should have wrestled Ric Flair in the main event, but nonetheless, this was a great match. The Undertaker streak really started to mean something. I think back at 23, when he beat Batista, was number 15, and I think people really started to realize, shit, like, Taker's got something going here. So they really utilised that in the main event, and it did look like for a bit Edge was going to win it, but he reversed like a spear and turned it into the Hell's Gate. It was a really cool ending. I love outdoor WrestleManias for some reason, and when Undertaker won the belt and he was like in the hot Floridian sun lifting up the belt, it was like a really kind of cool moment with the flames going on behind him. Really cool main event, great WrestleMania. It just fucking ruled. Obviously again HBK maybe should have main evented, but nonetheless this fucking ruled. Like it a lot. Then we got Undertaker versus HBK at WrestleMania 26. This probably wasn't quite as good as the match at 25, but the emotion was just so much more. This is like one of the rare main events where it's justifiable that it's a non-title match. Even Rock Cena, in my opinion, was justifiable not to be a title match, and this was the epitome of that. This was all about the streak and Shawn Michaels' career. I think the match was good. It wasn't amazing, but there were some awesome moments, especially when Shawn Michaels is getting up and he's like, yeah, and Taker like just gives him the fattest tombstone pile driver you'll ever see. It's a cool moment, and when Shawn Michaels leaving the arena in silence, it's extremely powerful. And Shawn Michaels is Mr. WrestleMania, so seeing him end in the main event was extremely fitting, and it's again, not the greatest match, but the kind of ending really, really made it, and I love it a lot. Now into my top 5, we've got The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 15. This was a pretty horrible WrestleMania, and just goes to show that actually a main event really can salvage a WrestleMania, because the rest of the card was dreadful, but this match was fantastic. It wasn't really the best culmination of the 98 era, Vince versus Stone Cold, which in my opinion is the best year of WWE's history. I think what should have perhaps happened was we got the cage match versus Stone Cold and Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 15 instead of at St. Valentine's Day Massacre, because these two didn't really have much of a rivalry going into it. It just so happened to be the two best wrestlers colliding at the same time, which in a way, is okay, but actually you could kind of say Royal Rumbles suck in that kind of way, because you put together two people who don't really have a long rivalry together. But nonetheless, this was a fantastic match. I think that Stone Cold really ripped it apart. The Rock main eventing at 26 years old or something. I think the youngest main eventer behind Brock Lesnar. It was a really good match. Vince McMahon getting involved. Mick Foley was like the kind of special guest referee. HBK at the start of the match telling Vince he couldn't referee. That was really funny. Overall, yeah, it was great. It was potentially a more purist match than the WrestleMania 17, but it didn't have quite as much drama, and that match will be coming up soon. Next, we've got Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. I know everyone hates this match because it's shit and there's rubbish wrestling. As far as I'm concerned, this is the best WrestleMania main event in terms of spectacle and emotion and meaning and like resonance to what wrestling is. This was fantastic. The build-up was just incredible. Andre the Giant was a face, one of the most popular wrestlers in the world. Him and Hogan were really good friends, and then bit by bit Andre started getting pissed off. He, ripped the crucifix off of Hulk Hogan's neck, which is very taboo, I'm told. And when they came together, it was fantastic. And just looking at them staring at each other at the start of the match, that is what WrestleMania is. And obviously the finish with the slam is just iconic. I love that in this match that actually Andre almost pins Hulk in the first 2 seconds. And I think they almost fucked it up where Hulk couldn't get up in time because Andre was so heavy. That would have destroyed the match. But there were a few little bits and bobs in the match that actually were quite entertaining. But for speculation, yeah, this is like the best match. It's a spectacle, sorry. But in terms of wrestling, pretty damn low on the list. But I love it. And WrestleMania 3 is my favourite WrestleMania. So I think this match absolutely fucking rules. Next, we've got Bret Hart versus HBK at WrestleMania 12. This is obviously the purest dream. This is probably the best wrestling match of all time. I'm sure many people would say. I kind of think it's a tiny bit boring here and there. But what I really love about it is the entrance when HBK comes down from the sky. I think that's amazing. It's so fucking WrestleMania. And when he wins at the end, that to me epitomizes the wrestling industry, working your whole life towards that one moment in the main event of WrestleMania when you finally lift the World Heavyweight Championship. And I just find that moment incredible, and everything in between is pretty damn good as well. I love how Bret Hart gets the sharpshooter on HBK in the last minute of the match, and he just survives, and they go into overtime. Just great stuff, just an absolute classic. Can be a bit tedious here and there, but it's fucking the Iron Man match. It's the best rivalry of all time, and probably the two best wrestlers of all time. So what more can you ask for? Next, number 2 is The Rock versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania 17. There were many things you could criticize about this match. The fact that it was the end of the Attitude Era, turning Stone Cold Steve Austin was bullshit. That was just Vince McMahon thinking, fuck the world, I've beaten WCW, I'm going to turn Stone Cold heel, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. Kind of disgraceful booking in many ways. But actually, this was a great match. There were shitloads of near falls, there was blood, it was a fucking war, it was a spot fest. In a way, it was overbooked to the max, but the drama is just epic, and this is kind of one of the matches that I will show people who've never watched wrestling before to watch this match, because it's just so exciting and there's so much going on, and in a way it does top the one at 15, and it's just brilliant, but it doesn't quite beat the number 1 WrestleMania main event of all time. And probably the best WrestleMania match of all time is HBK versus Triple H versus Chris Benoit at WrestleMania 20. This was just brilliant, brilliant stuff from all 3 guys, wrestling their hearts out. It just was everything you want. So much drama, so many near falls, and Chris Benoit winning. It's such a shame that he did such a fucked up thing that this memory has to be erased from time, because the moment when him and Eddie Guerrero, 2 people who are now deceased, hug at the end of the match with both of the titles, it's just that has to be the most iconic wrestling image of all time in many ways, because these are 2 quite small guys, quite technical wrestlers, working their asses off against the kind of bigger dudes who have it easy, the good looking guys who have it easy. Here you have 2 best friends who work their asses all the way to the top, and at the 20th anniversary of WrestleMania you have them both holding the belts, and Chris Benoit's wife and son come up. Ugh, pretty fucked up, but watching this today, knowing both of them are dead, it's an incredibly emotional experience and thing to watch, and the match itself was just epic, and to me this is the best WrestleMania main event of all time. And I highly doubt that they will ever be able to recreate such an emotional ending as they did that night. So yeah, those are my WrestleMania main events being ranked for you, and I think it's safe to say that actually a good WrestleMania main event does seem to go hand in hand with a good WrestleMania. There are a few exceptions, like WrestleMania 14. I don't think the main event was that good, but it was a great WrestleMania. WrestleMania 3, that was the antithesis of that, the best WrestleMania of all time, and a great main event. So it's a mixed bag of tricks, but that was it. Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait for WrestleMania. I'll be doing some more WrestleMania themed videos, and I hope you liked it. And yeah, subscribe, like, and comment. Peace out.